Today I'm going to show you how I do my makeup like you see on Pinterest. Today's video is me getting out of my burnout and also boyfriend reveal because I know you guys look at him more than you look at me. I'm gonna wear my lenses which are in shade ash brown. We all know that Pinterest is the daily newspaper for a teenage girl and we all have seen makeup looks on Pinterest that look so good and pigmented. I do have good enough insights on Pinterest to give you a tutorial how to do makeup like you see on Pinterest. If you want a tutorial on specifically how to do the base, watch my previous video on how to master doing makeup. First I'm doing my primer. As a lazy perfectionist, I can't have my Pinterest boards all unorganized since a lot of you guys do follow me there. For skincare, this is what I used. Now I'm doing color correction, which I recently started doing, and I'm using a very flat brush for a smoother application. This is such a lifesaver because I have redness and pigmentation, so it helps a lot with that. I don't think you can see the redness spots that I have on camera, but they are small dots that kind of look bad when I do my powder blush. You can kind of blend this out because it can give a lighter base. If you have dark circles, use the orange shade of the color corrector. I've been struggling to cover up the pigmentation on my mouth area for a while, so this really does its job. For foundation, I'm applying it with a flat brush. Right after filming this video, I actually got this flat brush that was very popular and used by a lot of Korean makeup artists. I'm applying it on the opposite side. If you're unfamiliar with my technique, just watch my previous video. Now I'm using a setting mist. Recently, I got a lot of new products, even though some of my stuff is still stuck in shipping. This micellar sponge is from Nykaa. It's from Inside. I also bought another one from Meesho. When I receive it, I'll mention it in my future video and link it down for you guys. This is the close-up after applying the foundation. Now, one thing that is essential for makeup to look good is to make the makeup look dimensional. For that, I'm using a lighter shade. This lighter shade goes on the center of the face. These are the placements that I do so it lights up the face. Now let's do concealer. This concealer is again empty by now, so this time I decided to buy a one shade lighter. This concealer is so good. It actually marinates so well. Just applying at places I want more coverage. See how I'm tapping continuously at one area that I want more coverage at. So in this way, it actually blends well. You can look up and also apply the product. I truly don't trust any other formula of concealer than this one. For setting this base, I'm using a translucent powder from Swiss Beauty. This one is kind of hard to work with if you apply it all over the face, so I would recommend using the Blue Heaven finishing powder. Like, I have been saying this for so long since I had acne, so I'm telling you this works really well for oily skin. Again, the way you apply your powder is also important, so it looks more natural, which is hard with translucent powder because they usually catch up on the flash. This is how the base looks after I've applied the powder. Also, don't make any faces until your whole makeup is done. Oh my god, we all have this one product that we have been using since forever. I used to use this when I was like 14, so yeah, it still looks good. So this blush is very light, so I actually like this one as a base shade. It just gives a more dimension to the face. Since the blush is light, I can just use a more pigmented product and it can make the makeup look actually good on camera. I usually focus the blush on the center. I have a diamond face shape, so I follow Sana's makeup tips from Twice. I don't go all the way to the area of the contour with my blush because it makes my face look more flat and wide, and to also just make the bronzer have its own moment. For this pigmented shade, I focus on the under eye area because I like to do this placement, but since because of my face shape, it can make the face look more long. To bring some warmth to the face, I'm using a bronzer. I prefer using a bronzer than a contour now because it's not too dark and actually looks good on me. One thing is that when you take a picture in flash, you can see the natural shadow of your face, and that is a cool tone of shadow. So I mean is, instead of using a warm tone contour, maybe try using a cool tone or a medium toned contour. These are the placements that I did for the bronzer. Now I'm using this bronzer on the eyelids as a base shade. For more pigment, you can apply the product like this with the brush. On this side, you can use any darker shade. This also helps with aerosol shadow to look more real. For contour, you can do as you prefer, but I'd suggest do your contour lines very thin so it looks best on camera. You can do sculpting with your bronzer like this. This is where you apply the contour lines like this because on camera, the makeup will look flat and sometimes exaggerate the makeup. These are the natural shadow of the nose, so applying right on that can make the nose look wider. For this button nose effect, you can also make the edges softer instead of creating one harsh line because on flash, it doesn't look that good, so push the contour upwards. Now I'm using this palette from Makeup Revolution. For this I'm using like a light purple, but it looks more darker on me. For this you can use any eyeshadow of your choice. If you are a warm tone, then use a coral shade. I actually wanted to use a coral shade, but I also wanted to try this new palette with you guys. See how I'm applying the product on the under eye like this, so it looks more natural. We don't want to do the one line egg style because it doesn't look that great on flash and camera, and personally speaking, that's like for beginners. I'm using this type of round and slick brush. This is used to blend the eyeliner so it gives a softer look, and I'm using it for the egg style by using a darker shade from the color of the eyeshadow. If you're using a pink shade, then go for a dark mauve or brown shade. As you can see, this was super easy. Looks good for the ones that don't want heavy makeup, so you can have light shades instead. Now I'm creating a shadow on this area which makes the eyes look more bigger. I'm not an expert at eyeliner, so you guys can do as you like on this one. Now I'm using a white glitter from the Makeup Revolution palette here in the center. With the glitter placements, you guys can do as you like. Since this is not a specific look, this is just what looks good on camera. I've seen some of you been curious on how I do my eyebrows, so this is the tutorial for those. One, I apply some concealer on my eyebrows. I look like a senior high school bully from a manhwa. I mix that with some contour and lipstick. For lips, I'm using a matte mousse lipstick. A lot of you guys follows me there. Follow what?